Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Dropping the Gloves. Thanks for joining us here. Beautiful Monday morning, coming off a nice Mother's Day. Fantastic. We had a nice weekend. My twins got confirmed, which is very fun. So we had a nice special weekend for them. This was a nice weekend, Tim. I'm in a good mood. How are you?
I'm good. Yeah. Mother's Day weekend. So obviously I'm not in Massachusetts, but I called my mom and said Happy Mother's Day. Talked to her on the phone for a bit, and they had a family brunch barbecue thing. So the whole family was together. What'd you guys do?
Does your brother live in Mass, so he's with her?
Yeah, he didn't see her yesterday though. Actually, she did. She stopped by his house on the way home to see the baby and everything.
That's my situation too. My younger brother lives at home, and so he just gets all the Mother's Day, all the kind of stuff that goes along with it.
At home with them?
Well, he lives in the same town.
Okay,
Yeah. So he's married with kids, but yeah, he does all the family stuff, and I'll call and they'll all be there having a great time. You know, it is what it is. So
what about Danielle? What'd you guys do for her?
It's a tricky holiday because she's not my mom. And I tell the kids that. They're like, what are we doing? I'm like, I'm doing nothing because did not birth me. So this falls on you. But the kids, we made breakfast for her. They made a bunch of presents for her. I did a scrapbook for her because we have 7 kids, one on the way. You want to remember certain ages. And I look at my 12-year-old, I'm like, gosh, I don't remember you as a baby. So what I did was I took all the pictures now that are on the phone and I printed them all out. And I made a scrapbook. I gave each kid 4 pages of the scrapbook, and they got to write whatever they wanted in the scrapbook, and it was nice.
Beautiful.
And so, yeah, we did that, and then we did the confirmation, and we did a nice dinner. I made steak and salad and, some mushrooms for my wife. That's all she wanted. I said, you want to go for dinner? And she said, no, let's just hang out at home, and we just did that. And, of course, we just get interrupted every 20 minutes by a different kid. I'm just like, what? Doesn't happen any other night, but it's like we have a nice dinner. We're outside. It's a beautiful night. We're having a couple drinks. What's her face keeps getting out of bed, or the twins won't stop talking. This and that and this and that. It's just like, come on, you guys. It's life with kids. And then we got a chicken update. So Tim, we got the 10 now. Yeah. They're in the coop. One chicken keeps getting out, flying over the fence. Only one. I'm like, man. And so I was going to make adjustments today. I'm still going to make adjustments to the coop. I saw, when I left this morning, a fox walking around the property. And yesterday we saw an owl flying through the trees. I'm like, oh, they know we got some tasty treats. So the kids get home. They dropped off some kids at school and they came back because my wife homeschools most of them. Dead chicken right in the middle of the driveway.
No.
Tore apart. Eaten to shreds.
Was it that one?
The one that kept getting out of the coop. It flew over, and I've put it away at night where it's out of the coop and kind of hunched into a corner and trying to get back in, and it can't. The fox got it. I'm almost convinced because an owl would have taken the chicken and flew away. And I was hesitant to share this on the show because people get very offended. Yeah, the fox got it 100%. Because I saw it when I was driving out. I'm like that. I very rarely see foxes. And it was very comfortable right by the side of the road. It didn't run from me. And then sure enough, an hour later, dead chicken right in the middle of the driveway. So I'm guessing it was eating the chicken, heard my wife coming up the driveway, and beetled off into the woods. People don't know my driveway. It's a very long, winding road. There's corners where you can't see around the other corner. You don't know what's there. So it must have heard it and ran away. So Estelle was very upset. She called me in tears. She's like, it ate my fox. It ate my chicken. And I'm very bad with these. I'm more matter of fact. I'm like, just think of how great of a breakfast that was for that fox. It was just fantastic. You got to look on the bright side of things. And we had 3 other chickens that didn't have a name. So she just is going to pick a new chicken. So wow. Circle of life, Tim.
Yeah. So do you feel pretty good about the chickens staying safe if they stay within their corral?
Yeah. And I told myself if one gets picked off by an owl, I will buy a big piece of mesh to put over the top. But I don't want to because it looks ugly. And we have a tree canopy. So my thinking is, and everybody out there, correct me if I'm wrong, it would be hard for an owl to just start in a limb, like on a branch, swoop down, gather enough speed and momentum to pick up a live chicken and then fly out, because it doesn't have any runway to get any speed. Like you're literally going from zero, jumping down, grabbing a chicken, and then flying out because it's completely covered by branches. There's no space for it to get some speed in. So that's my reasoning until a chicken gets carried off and the kids are scarred for life. And then they blame me forever. But I don't, just stay in your coop and you're safe. The grass is always greener, they say. So you get eaten by a fox. That's what they say. All right, you know what else is good, Tim? Our merchandise. A lot of positive feedback. People love it. We partnered with Everything Hockey. We got a t-shirt. We got a hoodie. They say friend of the show. They got the logo. It's a lot of good stuff. People are enjoying it. So I'm just going to throw it out there. All different sizes, 4 colors. They're comfy. They're high quality. Tim's got them. He loves them. He gets compliments all the time. So support the show so I can buy, a new chicken for my kids. I need it. They're going like hotcakes. So go to the link in our bio or go to dropinthegloves.com. Maybe people don't even know we have a website, Tim. We do. Go to dropinthegloves.com to check it out. All right, Tim, let's get into it.
Yeah, this episode is brought to you by Bet365, the proud partner of Dropping the Gloves. Open an account with Bet365 today and bet on a huge range of markets. Whatever the sport, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Use promo code HOCKEYCA. No matter where you are in the world, that's the promo code HOCKEYCA. Go check it out. Give us a bump, and it's a great platform. Check it out. Let's get into some hockey stuff, John.
You must be happy with this next one.
I'm not happy. Just because I predicted the Panthers to win. I thought Bruins. I remember I said Panthers will win 3, Bruins will win 4. Panthers won both. I will preface this by saying Florida is clearly the better team. They were the better team in the regular season. They're the better team now. At the end of game 3, let's just touch on the Marchand Bennett thing. Yeah. We only saw the one angle, or like a couple of angles, but didn't really see exactly what happened. It looked like maybe he got him in the jaw. I had to watch it a couple of times to even understand what people were talking about. And then yesterday, the other side angle came out, which the league would have had, you know what I mean? Marchand goes in for a hit in front of the Bruins bench on Sam Bennett. Bennett braces, and then just the quickest little one-punch rapid-fire jab right into Marchand's jaw. Marshy goes out for the game. He was announced yesterday. He's out for game 4. Should have been a penalty, I think. Certainly should have been supplementary discipline. Wasn't anything. And then the Bruins are in a position where, like, how do we respond for game 4? Do we send a message? Do we try to take out their guys? We're losing in this series already at this point, and now we're playing without our captain. So not a great place to be.
Disagree with the penalty. I don't think it should have been a penalty. He had the same view that the camera had initially. So how do you call a penalty on a play like that? It should have been a suspension. And it makes it worse that it's his stick hand that punches Marshy, because it's just like having brass knuckles. I know it's maybe a little drastic, but anytime, like when I would get in street fights, you would want to you would have a lighter. And so you'd say, let's hold on to a lighter. It gives your hand support, and it gives it that much more punching power. So that's why you hold your keys, you hold something in your hand to give it that. You wrap a watch around your it's a kid's show. I don't want to get into it.
That's what I would do too. Yeah.
Having that stick in your hand makes it that much more of an impact. And tough luck for Brad Marchand, but Sam Bennett's a dirty son of a gun. That's a dirty play. He should have been suspended. There's that angle, and that you know what that is? That's shame on you, George Peros, because you nailed it. They have that angle. And he did look at it, and they said, no, everything's fine. Like what? How do you get absolved of that hit? It's a complete shot to the face by a guy trying to hit you cleanly, and you punch him right in the face. And that doesn't make sense.
The fuel to the fire, too, because game 2 was super testy. And they said before game 3 that the league was going to be heavily scrutinizing the game. The official spoke to the team, said, don't let this get out of hand. Like, they had the magnifying glass on this one. They didn't get it, and then they didn't do anything about those replays. Yeah. So it goes into game 4. You're down your captain, one of your best players. We'll get into the X's and O's. Bruins didn't play very well. Panthers played pretty well, definitely better than Boston. But you have to talk about Sam Bennett again and that goal that, in my opinion, should have been called back. So there's the shot on net, kind of a scramble in front of Swayman. Bennett comes behind Coyle, who's kind of guarding the area, cross-checks him in the back. He bumps into Swayman. The puck bounces in front of him. All bang, bang, bang. Bennett scores. They immediately review it. Boston challenges. It goes all the way up to Toronto. The announcers are saying, yeah, this will be called back. The broadcast team. The goal on the ice stood. And they basically said, we acknowledge there was a push, but it wasn't enough to overturn the goal. John, does this make any sense to you?
Yeah, I don't think it's a penalty. I don't think it should be a disallowed goal. I get what you're saying. I totally get what you're saying. And you have here the quote from the rule book. If a defending player has been pushed, shoved, or fouled by an attacking player so as to cause the defending player to come into contact with his own goaltender. That's what he did. He pushed Coyle into Swayman. They made contact. It is what it is. Such contact shall be deemed contact initiated by the attacking player for purposes of this rule, and if necessary, the penalty assessed to the attacking player, and if a goal is scored, it should be disallowed. I get it. How much contact does it take for Charlie Coyle to be pushed into Swayman? Like, what is the gauge there? Because it doesn't look like Sam Bennett pushes him at all. How much blame gets put on Charlie Coyle? He's on his toes. He's in the crease. He doesn't box out whatsoever. Why doesn't Sam Bennett get to clear his way? It's a net front battle. Why does Sam Bennett not get to push him out of the way just a little bit? How much blame gets put on Charlie Coyle for putting himself in that situation? It's much akin to a defenseman going back to get a puck and you get hit from behind. Because you're doing, and I'm not saying Coyle's doing this on purpose. He's in the crease. The puck is there. Bennett's got to battle for the puck. So Sam Bennett can't touch Charlie Coyle at all. He just had to let the puck sit there. You have to be able to play the puck. That's all I'm saying. And he doesn't push him that hard. Coyle has to do a better job of his body positioning and his awareness around the net. He is in the crease, Tim, when Sam Bennett touches him. On his toes. He has no idea Sam Bennett's there.
Let's be clear with the language here. He didn't touch him. He cross-checked him from behind, which maybe
gently persuades him with his stick.
The hit on Coyle alone is not a penalty. You're fighting for position, like that's fine. I'm not arguing that. But then Coyle gets pushed into Swayman. Swayman can't make the play. Coyle can't make the play because of what Bennett did. It says right in the rule book, if he's been pushed, shoved, or fouled by an attacking player, come into contact with his own goaltender, it's the rule book. I don't understand. And way lesser things. And it's not just the postseason, like, oh, it's the playoffs. Things in this postseason that have been way less egregious have been called and disallowed for goalie interference. And the fact that this wasn't is just comical. And
so the referee's reasoning, this is the referee's reasoning. He said that even if Charlie Coyle doesn't get pushed, Swayman has no play on the puck because it's an empty net. That was the reasoning.
Crazy. Stupid.
I don't agree with that. I think Swayman could have gotten across with his blocker. Potentially. He's not sliding across. What's that?
You don't think
he's full butterfly at that point. I think he's full butterfly. There's no chance he's able to grip with his blade and get a push across. I think that ship has sailed. He's full on butterfly. I think he could have reached with his blocker. Charlie's laying on his blocker. And I just think it's a net front battle. Initially, I thought, oh, Bennett, bad boy. Should have been a penalty. You got to man up. Like Coyle sees him. He shoulder checks on his way into the crease. Then he just completely loses him. And Bennett's right on his hip. He's like, perfect. Puck's coming. Little nudge. Empty net goal. I don't know. I was thinking your way initially. And then I was like, Coyle has to do a better job. This falls on him. 100%. Terrible. You're 6'3" or whatever you are. You have to do a better job of boxing out. You're in Swayman's lap when Bennett cross-checks you. And it was a little bit more than a little shove. He gives him a shot. You got to be aware. It's very similar to a D-man going back for a puck. And he's trying to, engage that contact to dive into the boards to draw a penalty. Coyle has to do a better job there.
So between the two plays, the Marchand punch and this play, Sam Bennett is enemy number one. And this is the game-tying goal. Totally sucked the life out. And I have to say at this point, Boston, I don't think deserved the win. You know what I mean? Yeah. I think the way Dale Arnold summed it up, I think, friend of the show, by the way, I think I pretty much agree with. He said, I'm not sure the Bruins deserve to win tonight, but they at least deserve a chance to compete fairly. I feel like the NHL did not give them that chance. we can disagree about whether that call should be, but I feel like that's a fair assessment.
Yep.
Now Florida has outplayed Boston. They're 3-1 in the series. They're heading back to Florida to play tomorrow night. Here's where a lot of the issues are. And I said this before the game, and even actually after the second period going into the third, it's a tie game at this point. You're getting the best that Florida has to offer in the third. You're getting their top game. You don't know what you're getting from Boston. And that's really, really frustrating. And this is their shot on nets in the last 3 games. 18, 17, 12, going back from 4-3-2. That sounds like periods. Like those are like some teams do that in a period.
Yeah. Well, Florida
like Colorado,
does.
Edmonton, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you're getting, what is that? 47 shots across 3 games is just awful. Not good enough. And a lot of credit to Florida, but Boston has to be better.
But who has that's the thing. And I was on a show this morning, Sirius XM, and they had a great point. It's like, who do you turn to? You have Pasta.
Zacha needs to be better.
Yeah, but it's Pavel Zacha. Is it Jake DeBrusk who needs to step up? Is it like JVR who is, he's not JVR? Is it Frederick who's better suited as a checker? Is it Geeky who's still coming into his own? Like who? They don't have it.
Yeah.
And it's okay. It's okay. Marchand hasn't been good since the first 3 games of the Leaf series. He's been invisible. Charlie McAvoy is being too aggressive on Barkov's final goal. Everybody's talking about DeBrusk and Pasta. That's Charlie McAvoy. Diving in at the red line, missing Barkov and looking like a dummy, and then Barkov just out-muscles those 2 guys, but he had the speed. But it's true. Charlie's trying to blow people up. Can't do that. Like you have to be smarter. Florida's way better than Toronto, and they're more physical, so they're going to get through those checks. Yeah, you might light a guy up here or there, but as a whole, that's not your game. So Tim? Who do you think needs to step up for Boston?
It's a fair point. I was thinking about this the other day. Frustrated with Morgan Geeky, and I was like, okay, why am I frustrated? And I think I'm just mad that he's not better than he is, and that's not his fault. You know what I mean? It's like he's playing okay. I think he probably should be a little bit better, but he's just not that guy. He's not that good. He's a good role player who can score.
You're not that guy, pal.
Yeah. I mean, Pasta should be better. I don't know. The Bruins are just not. Florida's a better team. And I said that before the Toronto Game 7. Like, you need to win this one. You don't really have a chance against Florida. They look good in Game 1, 5-1, and then they've lost 3 straight. And you're probably going to lose tomorrow night. And we can have that conversation when it comes. But the other thing I want to touch on is that Don Sweeney scheduled a press conference today. He initiated it. It should be around noon-ish. He hardly ever does this in the postseason. Everyone's talking about what it's going to be. I don't think it's going to be about the refs, at least not directly. But the general belief is that it's going to be about Marchand maybe being done talking about, and then maybe he'll touch on the Department of Player Safety or the officiating. But
yeah,
we'll see what he says.
If it is about that, I think it does put pressure on the league and the referees to call a little bit more for Boston, because listen, our best player and captain is out, and you guys didn't do anything. No suspension, no penalty, and it was a clear-cut penalty. No supplemental discipline. So if that's what it is, which I don't know what else, it's strange for a guy to put a press conference right now before Game 5. So got to do something. Swayman's literally the only guy keeping him in this series. He's played that goal versus Rodriguez, potentially his fault. The only one I could have, he was screened up the yin-yang. He couldn't really see it. That was the only sort of bad goal he's given up. He's played lights out. Very, very, very good. But anyways, the Bruins are done. Can you stick a fork in them? Is there any hope?
To win Game 5, maybe. To win the series, no.
This is a good run. Okay. They did not listen to me. Don Sweeney did not listen to me. How you grow a team, how do you build a team? Strong through the middle. They went the opposites. Strong on the wings. They're not even strong on the wings. They had a very good season. They're very fortunate. So this was a long time coming. They need to get some help down the middle, and it needs to be addressed this offseason if they have any chance of winning. You got to get Elias Lindholm there. He makes sense.
He does.
He does. But anyways, moving on, there was another game to be played, Vancouver, Edmonton. Oh boy. This one's not going as planned. The grand scheme of the NHL and everybody involved saw Colorado Edmonton playing in the Western Conference Finals, and it was going to be electric. McDavid, McKinnon, Makar, Bouchard, Draisaitl, Rantanen. Oh, incredible. Ooh, don't look now. Vancouver is throwing a massive wrench in that plan, and it has to do with a couple friends of the shows, JT Miller and Nikita Zadorov. Oh, so good. So incredibly good. You know who's not doing so good is the Edmonton goal. Have you heard this before, Tim? Have you heard this tale before? Edmonton's got a high-powered offense. They got an okay defense. Goaltending is atrocious. Jack Campbell, Mike Smith, Koskanen, one of those K names. There's so many K names. Stuart Skinner pulled after the second period. He allowed 4 goals on 15 shots. Picard replaces him in the third. This is Skinner's stats this series, Tim. Keep in mind, this is the second round of the NHL playoffs, where you should be at your best. Like, these games matter. He's had 43 saves on 53 shots. Swayman does that on a good night. His save percentage is sub 800, 796. He's allowed over 5 goals more than expected. So if you shoot 100 shots on him, 4 are supposed to get in. He's letting in 9 or 10. That's not good. Is he the main reason the Edmonton Oilers are losing this series so far 2-1? Or is he just the result of shoddy defense?
No, he has to be the main reason. Because look, he allowed 4 goals and 15 shots last night in 2 periods. That's good defense. That's good team defense. Yeah. And a lot of it's generated just by their offensive zone time and everything and who they have up front. But that's not good enough. And I think even you said a few weeks ago the Oilers weren't going to win, but it wasn't going to be about the goaltending.
I was wrong.
Yeah, it's about the goaltending. And I know that it's hard to find a good goaltender, especially when you have so much cap room committed to the offense and the firepower. It's the same story as Toronto and others like it, but you can't keep continuing like this and waiting for someone to be someone they're not. Stuart Skinner is just not. And I think this is probably the final year that he gets. I think they have to make some changes in the offseason. They're still in the series. I don't want to put the cart in front of the horse, but this is so frustrating if you're an Oilers fan.
Tim, look 200 feet across the ice. Their goaltender, Shilov's rookie, playing fantastic. His save percentage last game was .933. He had 45 shots against. That's how many shots Skinner has gotten in 4 games. It has to be better. All right, let's get into the game because there were some spicy things. There was a lot of up and down. How fun has this series been? Can we just stop and take a second to appreciate the hockey that's being played out west? Eastern Conference still sucks. I know, the Rangers are good. That's fantastic. The Bruins are just giving Florida the series, it seems like. The Western Conference has made up for a lackluster first round. Dallas, Colorado, and Vancouver, Edmonton. It's good hockey, everybody. It's good to watch. If you're going to watch any games, you watch those 2 series. It's fantastic. Let's get into this. Vancouver takes game 2. The big story everybody's talking about is 2 things. Edmonton, at the end of the game, McDavid gets just destroyed by Zadorov and Carson Soucy. What is your take on this? Because I feel like I know where you're going to land on this, and I'm not going to like it.
Game 3, right? So you meant, yeah.
Yeah, what did I say?
2. Yeah, so obviously it's a penalty because of what happened. I don't think the intent was necessarily there from Soucy because if you look at each individual thing, Zadorov kind of shoves McDavid from behind, not super hard. The kind of thing happens 100 times a game after the whistle. Soucy, if that doesn't happen, Soucy's shoving McDavid in the chest. It's a bang thing, but because McDavid, and you watch it in replay, it looks really bad. But Soucy's, if you watch it like in real time, Soucy's about to cross-check him in the logo, and then McDavid gets
the intent isn't there from Soucy to hurt him.
Yeah, but I think he's still going to get suspended for it.
No, not a chance.
No, I mean even Frank said this morning, that, and so did I don't know, one of those guys, Friedman or Craig Button said he needs to be suspended for this. If he doesn't, then the Department of Player Safety has failed again. So
how the hell does he get suspended for that? You tell me.
Cross-checked the guy in the face.
I cross-checked him in the chest. It's not my fault his face got in the way.
Yeah, I know.
And I'm being completely serious here. completely 100% earnest. I don't think he gets if anybody gets suspended, it should be Zadorov for cross-checking him in the back. Soucy had no intent to cross-check him in the face. It just so happened that McDavid was falling. And this all stems, I don't want to get the, mess around and find out.
Yeah. McDavid
gives him a hard slash on the leg. Hard, very hard, two-handed slash in the leg. That's what you get. You're going to play in the mud, you're going to get hurt. And that's what happened. You're behind the net, you're trying to stir it up with two physical defensemen. Zaddy doesn't care. He's going to give it to you. We've seen that throughout his career. That guy, he does not care. And it's Connor McDavid, so they're going to give you an extra shot. He's your best player. You're targeting him. Before the series, I guarantee you the coaches, they bring the D-man around. Who do we need to focus on? 29 and 97. He sees 97. Red light, let's go, or red thing for a bull, get him. He cross-checks him. There's no suspensions. This is just McDavid slashing Soucy, and they responded. And it just so happened he got hit in the back, and he just ate it right in the face. Like you said, if you slow it down, Soucy's cross-checking him hard in the chest. Like he's coming for him. he just McDavid falls. It couldn't have been more perfect timing, right? Like it's like karma. I don't think karma's a thing, but he takes it in the face. It was so perfect, and that's what happened. You want to be a tough guy and two-hand someone in the leg behind the net. You better be prepared to pay the consequences. Not a popular take. I know people are going to be like, you're good, this and that. I don't care. I thought it was fantastic. McDavid better, mind his P's and Q's. That's all I got to say. I don't think there's any suspension. I think it was a fine play. And I think this solidifies the fact that, McDavid's struggling. If he's two-handing guys behind the net, he never does that. He usually kind of stands around and walks or skates away. He's starting to get upset. These Canucks are in his kitchen a little bit, and it starts with Zadorov and Soucy. They've been doing a very good job with him 5-on-5, and we'll touch on that in a little bit. Do you think if he does get suspended, you and your stooges, Frank and Elliot Friedman, you insiders, how many games do you think he gets?
I mean, one. I don't think it's. I don't know. I mean, you have a point, so I'm kind of thinking about it now. But
you're damn right. I got a point.
At the end of the day, like, I know intent has to play a big factor there, but intent, like, Trouba had intent with some of these hits, and he didn't get suspended for intent. He gets suspended for what actually happened. He didn't connect with the head. Same as Kuznetsov in Game 4. He didn't get him. So the intent, you can't really be suspended on intent. You get suspended for what happens, and he still cross-checked him in the face, and that's what happened. And so they may send a message. Maybe it's do they do fines in the playoffs?
Yeah.
Maybe it's just a message like, hey, don't let this thing get out of hand, but I wouldn't be shocked if he gets a game.
Nothing will happen. They didn't fine Bennett or suspend Bennett. This is way worse than what he did, right? So you've set the precedent. If he does get suspended, Boston fans are going to lose their marbles.
Yeah.
Like it'll be crazy. And Peros, everybody is critical of him. What's hockey known for in the playoffs? You put the whistle away, baby. Let's go. If you win the Stanley Cup, you're gonna have to show for it. Broken bones, you're gonna have stitches, you're gonna have bruises. It's a war. And if I'm Edmonton, I suck it up. I go out there and I do that to Pettersson, and I do it to JT Miller, and I do it to all their top guys. That's it. If that's the rules of the game, if I'm Darnell Nurse, Vinny Desharnais, these guys, do it. After the whistle, start punching guys in the face and cross-checking and making it hard for their forwards. That's how it's played. Do you remember Duncan Keith when he used to play?
Yeah.
Remember him on the Sedins? Like he would abuse them. Like it was criminal. Some of the stuff he did. So people just need to toughen up, Edmonton. Let's go, figure it out. But now they're behind the 8 ball. They're down 2-1 to a very motivated Vancouver team, and their best player, Tim. What's going on with McDavid?
Yeah, well, it's weird to say because he's still second in the playoffs in points, and his teammate Draisaitl is first. He's got 17 points in, 9 playoff games?
Mm-hmm.
But he was held scoreless last night. And in this series, in 3 games, he has 1 goal, 4 assists, 5 points. which is still 5 points in 3 games. But if you're Edmonton, if you're Edmonton's defense and defensive coach and all that, you're happy with that. To have 1 goal, 5 points for McDavid, I feel like that's probably a pretty good place to be. Just the fact that you've won 2 out of 3 and you're holding him, I don't know, 5. It's a lot, but it's not for McDavid. So I feel like you have to be pretty pleased with where you are right now.
And all those points, 5 of those points, I want to say 4 of them are on the power play.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't have any power play goals. I don't have it in front of me, but I mean, he's been playing 30 minutes. He played 29-42 last night. And he had 0 points, 4 shots on net.
The most dangerous players for the Oilers is Draisaitl. He was fantastic. He
that
looked so dangerous.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness! But he was getting breakaways. He was at the rushes. He was his bursts or the neutral zone. Incredible. McDavid, not the same thing. I think we've seen the best of Connor McDavid. I think it's all downhill from here. That's it. He's, what is he, 35? 30, like it's but no, in all seriousness, he doesn't look different, but the Canucks they're doing a fairly good job on him. I mean, 5-on-5, the Oilers are getting next to nothing when he's on the ice, which is huge.
4 of those 5 points in the series came from 1 game, which is inevitable. You're going to have games where he has 4 or 5 points and you can't do a thing about it. That he's just that good. But to hold him to, in the other 2 games, 1 point total, 1 assist, 4 shots on net, you know what I mean? Like that's pretty good. So Vancouver, I said they might get swept and they're up 2-1 in the series. And I don't think many people saw it coming. They get a ton of credit for the way they're playing, top to bottom. And then, of course, the goalie Silov's just doing what he's doing is. Even DeSmith stepped up and played pretty good for the games that they needed to last round. And now they have their best goalies out and it's next guy up and they don't give up. And it's pretty special what they're doing. Yeah,
their 5-on-5 have been very, very solid. All of Edmonton's goals last night were man advantage. 2 power plays and 1 6-on-5. So they're struggling to get 5-on-5 offense. And I think that is key. JT Miller is keying that. He's been really great in the faceoff circle, coming back strong. Their D-zone play has been fantastic. Elias Pettersson been really solid. And don't look now, but Elias Lindholm, everybody thought his regular season was down. It was. He's been playing really solid. Really, really solid this playoffs, putting big goals in the net, playing really, really defensive, responsible hockey. So good for him. And then we know what Zadorov's been doing. He's been doing what Big Z does. But all right, moving on to another series. New York Rangers, Carolina Hurricanes. Carolina finally gets off the schneid, gets a much-needed win versus the New York Rangers, staves off elimination, a late goal. Freddie Anderson almost blew it. Up 3-2, gives a goal to Alex Lafreniere from behind the net, but they luckily right the ship. Brady Shea gets a power play goal. They win the game. Any hope of this team, Tim? Not getting eliminated tonight.
Yeah. I mean, I picked Carolina to win the series, and that's looking like a very long shot now when you have this Rangers team. But I still think I believe in Carolina extending, and I could still see them winning a couple, going 5 or 6. I think probably at this point you have to say the Rangers are going to win this, but I see this continuing on.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think this series is anywhere near over. I just think the Carolina Hurricanes need to stay out of the box. Yeah. That's how you beat the New York Rangers if you're the Hurricanes. I think you're a better 5-on-5 team. Obviously, they have Igor Shesterkin. You continue to fire pucks in the net. You will score. He is human, but you have to stay out of the box. That's how the Rangers beat you. Power play, special teams. That's it.
If you lose this series, I think you have to start criticizing Carolina to maybe almost the degree that we criticize Toronto. Like, this core has been together for a round. Yes, they've won a few rounds each year, but they have not taken a step forward when we all thought they did. And a lot of it has to do with their system, where it gives them a lot of advantages, but also it holds them back. You're trying to win games 0-0, and it just doesn't work in the playoffs when you come across an offense like that. So I don't know. If they don't go on a run again, you have to start thinking. I think some critique would be fair of this group.
Yeah, well, we got to remember Brett Pesce isn't playing. They have Delangelo in the lineup. He's a big part of that team. So yeah, I agree. There has to be some critique. What do you say about Sebastian Aho and Svechnikov? Like, everybody's healthy this year.
Yep.
You know, in years past, there's always been an issue. Oh, we don't have Svechnikov, our goaltender's hurt, this and that. You went out, you made a big push at the deadline. You got Kuznetsov, you got Gensel. You have some people on the back end. It's same old, same old. Even without Pesce, you still Slavin and Shea and Orlov and Burns and all. Tony G, like, he's Tony Delangelo. He's playing great. So, yeah, it's the goaltenders this year, which is very strange. In years past, that was always one of the, not super duper strength, but a thing you can rely on. And my Freddie Anderson not playing too great. Who do you start tonight? Anderson did get the win, but he looked shaky. Do you start him or Kochetkov?
I think you stick with Anderson just because I don't think you love what you saw from Kochetkov in game 3.
Mm-hmm.
I think you stick with the guy and just hope for the best.
Yeah, but just like they did with Hellebuck. Yeah. I agree, though. I think Carolina does push this to 6 and eventually 7. I think this series does have a lot of, games left in it. I like Carolina. I really, really do. Just stay out of the box. Play 5-on-5.
What I'm hearing is you hate New York and you hate their city and their fan base, and they all hate you now.
I know. No, I love New York. I think they will win the series. But they got to give them a pushback, Carolina. You need to do that. All right, let's move out west. Another fantastic series that isn't really going the way everybody thought. Everybody thought Colorado was going to walk through this. Dallas coming off a hard-fought 7-game series with the Vegas Golden Knights. Colorado just sitting there waiting, dispatching the Winnipeg Jets in 5, just flying, playing fantastic hockey, everything going right. Don't look now. Stars dominated game 3. They win the game 4-1. Everything's clicking for them. What's going on with this series, Tim? I know you love Colorado and Dallas, both of these teams. You're very high on both of them. What are you seeing so far in this series?
Well, it's the same as what we've seen in the first round from Dallas. Is like it's the Ottinger and they're young guys, Stankoven, Wyatt Johnson. Like those are the guys that are carrying the offense. And then little moments, I would say big moments, but fewer and further between are the goals from Sagan and Ben and Duchesne and those guys, Dadonov. But it's the young kids, which
Robertson,
is really
Pavelski,
yeah. Which means like if those guys turn it on, Dallas gets even more dangerous. But now they're up 2-1 in the series. I think a big issue with Colorado is the goals they're allowing, and we still haven't seen them win a close, low scoring game. And I was digging into the stats this morning. They lead the league in goals for in the playoffs with 4.5, which is just a crazy number. They're among the remaining teams. They'll also have allowed the most goals, 3.38 goals against per game. So they're allowing a bunch and they're scoring a bunch. But at some point, you're going to run into a team that just doesn't let you do that. Right now, it's looking like Dallas. So 2 wins in a row for them. And now you have game 4 tonight in Denver. Obviously, McCarr and Taze and all those guys are looking to tie it up. But you have to give a lot of credit to Dallas for what they've done so far.
Yeah, and you mentioned all the young guys. What screams to me is the older guys just being able to take a back seat and just being humble enough and aware of the situation. We talked to Matt Duchesne on this show a few weeks ago, and what was the quote they have on the wall? Sacrificing a little,
a lot more.
Yeah, and that's playing out perfectly in this postseason where a guy like Logan Stankoven, excuse me, is taking off. He's getting ice time. He's been bumped up to the first line with Robertson and Hintz. Fantastic. They're playing really, really good hockey. That bumps Joe Pavelski down. Jamie Benn playing less minutes. The first power play unit's been shaken around a little bit. All of a sudden, you go from playing like 18 minutes in the regular season. You're not getting the minutes like you did in the regular season so far because these young guys are stepping up. Nobody's saying boo. Everybody's, trying hard. They're not causing an issue. Matt Duchene's on the 3rd line. You got Dadonov playing on the 4th line, getting 7 to 10 minutes a night. It's fantastic. These guys are playing the right way. Every line's dangerous, Tim. Man, this Dallas Stars team. And I told Matt Duchesne, I have no idea who you are. I didn't watch you much during the regular season. I've been watching them a lot. Fun team to watch. And Miro Heiskanen is putting his stamp on the NHL right now. Everybody was all in on McCarr. Heiskanen's fun to watch, man. He's zipping all over the ice, and he's a big body, and he flies. He's fun. And Old Man River, Ryan Suter, playing pretty good himself too. Dallas, I don't know. This series, it'll go to 7. Colorado's not going to roll over and die. They have a pretty solid lineup themselves, but what they need to do, those bottom 3 lines, they just need to hold. Just play 500. Don't give up any goals. Let's just let Rantanen, McKinnon, and Lehkonen or Nichushkin, whoever's on the left side, just let them cook, and we'll play 500 hockey. That's how we're going to win games. Because we can't run and gun with these Dallas Stars. If my 3rd line is Wood, Colton, and Curavanta, that doesn't match up with the Duchesne, Marchand, and Sagan. Not even close. Dallas wins that matchup. If my 2nd line is Middlestead, Parise, and Nichushkin, or Lehkonen, whoever they put there, that doesn't match up with Ben, Johnson, and Pavelski. I'm sorry.
Yeah, right.
Dallas is deeper. Dallas is better. So Colorado needs to change the way they play. Only one line can run and gun on that team. That's the first line. Those next three lines need to just pump the brakes, play solid defensively, and just let that top line win you a Stanley Cup. That's all you can do. You don't have two top lines like you did when you won the Cup a couple of years ago. You've lost it. You don't have Gabe Landeskog. You don't have Nazem Kadri. You've lost a lot of gun power. So I think they will. I think they're a good team, but it's Dallas is looking strong. I want to redo my picks. I like Dallas. I like you. Sorry, Matthew Shane. I was wrong. All right. What else, Tim? Who are you taking tonight? Game 4 in Denver. That's what I want to know.
Yeah, I'll take Colorado to tie it. I still like Dallas for the series, but I see this one going 7.
I agree. I hope so. Fun series. All right, Tim. You compiled the list of people who got picked up at the deadline. That's always fun to do. Go back and critique things of teams. They have good intentions. Sometimes it doesn't work out. Who are we gonna discuss next?
Well, I want to get into the guys who are probably, the best pickups at the deadline. But one of the things I noticed is the teams that were the busiest at the trade deadline are already gone, which I think is interesting. Maybe there's something there. So here, obviously, Vegas was the busiest with Hertl, Mantha, and Hanifin, both in the volume and just the firepower of these guys. Invested a whole lot, eliminated in the first round. Winnipeg picked up Monahan a little bit before the trade deadline, pick up Toffoli on the day of. They are eliminated already. Tampa Bay Lightning picked up Matt Dumba, Anthony Duclair, 2 great pickups. Duclair especially was great. They're eliminated. And then Toronto, they picked up Lyubushkin and Edmondson, both 2 good, strong physical defensemen, which is a need for them. And,
was it a need?
Well, yes, I'll say yes. Edmondson played really well, but they're obviously out. So the teams that made all these moves, it was the guys with a couple of exceptions, but a lot of these were like smart, smaller, specific need moves that really paid off. So the big ones, Jake Gensel in Carolina. He's got 9 points in 9 games, 4 goals, 5 assists. He's playing excellent. He's got great chemistry with Aho, although both of the type of players that could have chemistry with anyone. They're just so good at what they do. He's been great, and Kuznetsov has been pretty good too with a couple of big points. Elias Lindholm, 5 goals already in this playoffs, 2 assists, 7 points in 9 games. He's played great, and he seems to be getting better in the second round than he was in the first. And then I would even throw Zadorov in there, who was traded not at the deadline. I know he was traded way back in November, which feels like a lifetime ago, but he's got 7 points in 9 games. Who knows where this offense came from? But he's also shutting down McDavid and the Oilers offense for most of the time out there. You see his play on tossing Evander into the bench?
Yeah.
Just beautiful. So he's doing it well. So I think those guys are some of the obvious picks. What do you think?
Yeah, I think the biggest impactful player is Nikita Zadorov. I think what he does all over the ice, he just affects the game in so many different ways, not just on the score sheet. The guy's scoring big goals. Let's not forget about that. But his physical game and just his confidence, I feel like that just rubs off on everybody. He has a swagger that nobody has. He's confident. He talks. He'll say it in the press before the skate. He'll say it in the interview after the game. He's like, he's a stud and he knows it. I saw that from him when he came in Buffalo the second he walked in the ring. He was confident. He had a swagger. He was cocky to the point of just being obnoxious. Everybody was looking at Risto Ristolainen. He's the big number 1 overall draft. We're not, I think he was number 7 or 8. Zaddy was like 12 or 13. I knew the big Russian was going to be good. He was, and he's just gotten better. So he's been the best addition overall, but the Dallas D-man's not doing too bad himself, Tim.
Yeah, Chris Tanev, we talked about it again last week, and even Duchesne said, how good he was, and they had identified him even before the trade went through. He's only 1 assist, but that's not where he contributes. It's the defense, it's the heavy minutes, it's the matching against any line you want. He's playing most of his time against McKinnon and Rantanen, and he's shutting them down for long stretches. There was the stat we had last week for he had played 97 minutes and not allowed any goals against in that time against the top 2 lines, something crazy like that. Or he was +5 or whatever it was. Yeah, he's just been so good and so under the radar, and he's probably going to be a fit long-term for them. So I feel like, Tanev and Zadorov are probably the 2 tops so far.
Yeah, that Dallas defense is logging some minutes. I'm looking at it now. The top 5 guys, Heiskanen averages 20, almost 28 minutes a game. Harley is 24. Lindell and Tanev are around 24 minutes. Suter's just under 20. Nils Lundqvist, 4 and
he's
a half.
So bad. Yeah.
Well, he's not bad. He's just an offensive defenseman. He needs to just get pushed up front. But Tanev and Lindell skates like the wind. Tanev just never gives up. He's just a never-ending engine out there. So they've been playing solid hockey. But yeah, I think Zadorov has been the best pickup so far. I think Gensel should have more points. He gets a lot of chances. He really needs to produce more. I hate to say that, but yeah, he needs to do more for the Carolina Hurricanes. All right, let's do some quick hits here, Tim.
Yeah, we got to mention the Leafs once every show, right? So Elliot Friedman said the Leafs, they started their interview process over the weekend. Craig Berube was interviewed on the same day, on Saturday. Todd McClellan was a name we forgot to mention, is also interviewed yesterday. So those two are very much in the mix, and we'll find out. I don't know when we'll find out. We might not find out till after the playoffs who they pick, but that's going to come through. And it sounds like the Devils are the leading spot for Sheldon Keefe.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I don't care who their coach is. It's not going to change anything. Q said he would be, happy to coach the Leafs. So
he'd be happy to coach anywhere.
Yeah, yeah. Nice.
And then David Pagnotta, who's one of the guys from the fourth period, NHL Network, he said, quote, "I have a hard time believing Tavares will waive his no movement clause, but I'm not convinced this is the same case for Marner. Speaking with those close to his camp, his belief is he would and should consider alternative options if the Leafs should seek a trade." So we talked about Nashville being a viable spot for Marner, and that Saros could be part of the deal coming back the other way, which cap-wise makes sense. I don't know that why Nashville would trade away the goalie when it's so hard to get one, but they're trying to get some offensive firepower. Then maybe they have younger goalies coming through the system. I'm not sure, but he would make them a lot better. Saros.
Yeah, UC Saros is going to be a UFA after next season. He makes $5 million. He'd be an upgrade over the Toronto Maple Leafs goaltenders. Obviously, Samsonov's going to be a UFA, but I don't know. Of course, Mitch Marner would waive his no-trade clause. The guy's like, it's a baby. What are you making? You think it's my fault? I might want to go. I don't want to be here anymore. So I honestly, whatever Toronto does with Mitch Marner, they will lose the trade.
Yeah.
So there's no improving your team by getting rid of Mitch Marner. That's it. He's a very good hockey player.
You won't find out until the playoffs. That's where you find out. Yeah, you're right.
He would look very good in Nashville. You pair him with Forsberg, Ryan O'Reilly. That'd be a good team.
Ryan O'Reilly's like, no.
Yeah,
I play with him.
Right,
we don't want him.
Mitch Marner, I know him. No, not gonna. That's really funny, but yeah, if I'm a GM and he's available, 100% I'm kicking the tires. You just have to make sure you have the cap available to sign him, because that's the big sticking point with all these teams. Can you have the money in your coffers? And the Nashville Predators do. They will have money available. They're only locked in 2025, 26 to like $22 million up front and $20 million on the back end. Cap's going to be, well above 85, maybe $87 million. They'll be able to afford him. And he's still young. He's a good player.
Yeah. And one of the things I in Marner's defense, does it like maybe he wants to get to a smaller market, because Toronto's a lot. Mm-hmm. And it takes a very specific type of person. This is not a knock on Marner to say, oh, maybe he wants to not deal with the media anymore, because many players struggle with that. So maybe like a Seattle, who's got the cap room, who's got some young players.
Stop.
You don't think?
No? He's not going to Seattle. No.
You don't think he'd waive it there?
No, not Seattle. Nashville, yes. Nashville has a very good team. They got a couple first-rounders coming up in 2020. Like, they have some potential to have a very, no offense to Seattle. There's nothing that excites me about that team. If I'm Mitch Marner and I look at Toronto, I go, oh, geez, I have a legit number one defenseman, Roman Josi. That'd be fun to play with him. Oh, I can play with Philippe Forsberg, Ryan O'Reilly. That's some, there's some talent on that roster. So, and you have a fantastic coach in Andrew Burnett.
In a great city.
Great city. So, yeah, I would waive it for Nashville. I would not waive it for the Seattle Kraken. No offense to Seattle, but not yet. Not quite yet. And Mitch Marner, who cares, honestly, where he goes? I'm so done with Toronto. Let's be done. See Shanahan in a stupid press conference. I take responsibility. No crap, Brendan. You're the president. You should take responsibility for not winning the last 10 years. That's your job. Last time I checked, it's your job.
Like 4 coaches, 3 GMs, 2 ownership group changes or whatever. It's just, he's been right there the whole time, 10 years.
It's the definition of just complete dysfunction in that franchise. And I don't want to spend any more time on it, but he needs to go. All right. Will there be any teams eliminated, Tim, before we talk again on Wednesday? Carolina, Boston.
I just think
you're thinking, wow.
Carolina will win tonight. So when we record, they will not be eliminated yet. Mm-hmm. Boston will. I think Boston's done.
You think they're done?
Yeah.
I agree. I wholeheartedly agree. I think Boston had a good season. Carolina will win. We'll see. That's why they dropped the puck, everybody. Thanks for listening. We appreciate the support. Go out and buy some merch so Tim can get off my damn back. He really wants to sell some stuff. So get out there. Go to our website, droppinthegloves.com. It's a good website. And we'll talk to everybody on Wednesday. Cheers.
Thanks for listening to Dropping the Gloves with John Scott, a member of the Nation Network of Podcasts. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts from to never miss an episode.